Hello and welcome to another very special episode of Schnozzcast.
The specialist of the special.
That's right. It doesn't get any more special than this, folks. And if you were listening to this having just watched us live on Facebook, YouTube, and all sorts of other platforms, and then you went to bed, then you missed, oh my God.
Wake the fuck back up.
Wake up. Wake up, bitches.
It's time to go again.
That's right. We're going again. And you can say that you were here because after this stream is over, it's going to be removed from the internet, potentially never to return.
It's done. Dunzo.
Dunzo. Why is it special, you might ask? Well, that's easy. That's because tonight you got Cory and Bob. That's it.
It's a very intimate episode.
It's as the kids used to say, a very special after school special.
Did they used to say that?
They used to say that. Let's just say they did.
Okay.
All right. But housekeeping, let's get that out of the way. If you're new to the podcast, thank you for joining us. And if you tuned in for the last live episode, thank you for sticking with us. If you're just now tuning in and you missed it, and you have friends or relatives who watched the other one, they're not going to see what you're seeing right now. So this is a much more intimate, it's a definite relationship that we have with the audience right now.
And so, and I know I said this just prior to starting.
But you're going to say it again right now more meaningfully.
For everyone listening, all the audience out there.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever done a podcast with just two people.
Not true.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
I think I can go back and check.
Am I ruining this bit by saying that we did because it's more meaningful if this is the very first time?
Right.
Then yeah, this is the first time ever.
I think this is the very first time we've ever done this.
Okay.
So that being said, that's how special of an episode this is.
It's like going to watch Top Gun, but instead
with your hand in your pants.
Well, with your hand in your pants, and they turn the house lights on, and all of a sudden, Tom Cruise shows up at the front of the stage, and he's like, you know what? Me and Anthony Edwards, we're gonna act out between Maverick and Goose. We're gonna act out the whole thing for you right now. We're not gonna do it for anybody else, but just for you.
And thank God you already had your hand in your pants because now you're good to go.
Yeah, I hadn't counted on you saying hand in your pants, but that really played into the analogy that I used.
It all mixed in together very well.
Yeah,
almost too well.
Yeah, this is why this is gonna work.
Exactly.
This is why this is gonna.
Let's hope. Here's the reason why it's not gonna work though. We have a shot sitting in front of us.
Oh, that, reverse it. This is why it's going to work really, really well.
Well, or it could take a huge turn sideways.
But that's the great part about the podcast.
It's the beauty of it.
You just don't know. You don't know.
Are Bob and I going to be face down on the table in 20 minutes? Or
look, whatever happens, they're going to be witness to it no matter what happens.
Or are we going to have a good show?
It's the beauty of the internet and live podcasting. So
you're going to have to stay around and find out.
Before we do this shot, let me just get through the rest of it. So, Mr. Todd Dillon, Mr. Nick Bader are off on, let's put air quotes around these, special assignment, and otherwise unavoidably detained and unable to attend the podcast. And so, therefore, we're going to run with it, the two of us, in what might be, some might be saying, might be the best format for this show. Just the two of us.
I think it's going to be a solid episode, buddy.
We're going to find out one way or the other. So, if you're still here, thanks for joining. If you're new to the podcast and you want to go back and listen to or watch any previous episodes, you can find us out on all the streaming services, anywhere we can get a podcast. If you want to watch us on video, you can find us out on YouTube, Facebook, and whoa.
We're already going off the rails.
No. Let me back up. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and TikTok. Instagram.
All the social media platforms. Every last one.
So I know that you're actually like bing, 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 like putting them on the screen. So if you're doing that already, should I just, for all audio and video, just wherever you get a podcast?
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, I'll put them up again just so everyone knows. There we go.
Fair enough. If you want to send us an email, you can email us at schnozzcast@gmail.com. If you send it right now, we're probably not getting it while we're on the air. We're going to get it at some point tomorrow if I get curious and I go to look and I see you send an email. So if you want to make sure that we get it right now, you can call or text us, a literal phone call or a text, anytime, including right now, to 618 Shocker. And I don't have anybody here to yell Shocker, but so I'm not going to do it. But let's just say that you heard what I said. And it was 618 Shocker.
You and I are neither good at doing that, so
no, we're not.
Won't even give
that effort I just made. Horrible.
Won't even
Doesn't
give
cut
that
the mustard.
an attempt.
I did. Sadly.
Well, no, I mean,
regrettably, I did.
You didn't put your heart and soul into it, though. That's if you would have, it would have just ended up. Nah, I'm gonna say let's not.
That's fair. Okay. So jumping right into it, Cory, we got the shot sitting here. We've got, and you know, for anybody out there who's watching or listening, and we do have fans and listeners and viewers who are scattered hither and yon throughout the United States, but also overseas, also Germany, Great Britain, Sweden, USSR, Yemen. We've had some Yemeni viewers before.
Really?
Absolutely. So you may be wondering, what is it that they're drinking and why are they drinking so many of them? And the answer to that is it's Fireball.
That is very good and tasty.
Some in the United States are saying it's the tastiest of all the liquors.
Better than any tequila.
But it really doesn't matter what we're drinking because you can pick your liquor of choice, be it scotch, tequila, some sort of a gruel that's been mashed down into a paste and then swizzled through a damp cloth to give you something to drink. Some
apple pucker for those out there that like apple pucker.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're listening to our podcast, but
well, no, we accept all comers.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Even the apple pucker enthusiasts, we accept you as well.
Everyone is more than accepted.
So whatever it is, pour yourself a quick shot right now. We'll wait approximately 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. That was real quick.
There we go.
And join us here. Here we go.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Oh. It sounds probably just as good as it tastes.
Whoa, warms you right up.
Yeah. Oh, so Cory, you know what the best part about doing this podcast, just the two of us, are?
That we can do whatever we want?
That's right. And I feel like you and I are specifically hockey fans.
I've been known to like a little bit of hockey.
Yeah, we've been to a couple of games
here and there
this season. Yeah. I think you've been to more games than I have. I think you and Danielle have been.
This season we haven't.
The
one we went to with you and Lori.
That was the first
That was our first one as well.
Okay. Well, you talk a big game.
Yeah, man. I mean, I played hockey for 16 years. So, and as a matter of fact, funny that we should be talking about this. You remember Taylor from our wedding?
I do.
She has her son Emerson, and she asked Danielle if I would be willing to teach him how to skate.
How old is this child?
He is 3.
So he's just started to walk.
Yes. And she
wants you to strap skates on him and throw him out there.
I mean, that's
the greatest game that's ever been played.
Now that you put it that way, I wasn't even thinking about him. I was just thinking about myself at the time because I'm not his
well,
dad,
of course you're flattered.
No, definitely. But
yeah.
I told Danielle, I'm like, is she being serious? Like, she really wants him to learn how to skate?
She's got to be a huge hockey fan.
She is. Oh, she's definitely a hockey fan.
Okay, so all you can say is absolutely buy a pair of skates and send it in my house.
Yeah, well, and so that's why I'm like, shit. In all honesty, Emerson might have to teach me a thing or two or remind me how to skate a little bit because it's been some years since I've thrown the skates on.
Yeah,
but I was also like, well, this is an opportunity to buy some new skates.
Listen, you and I have talked about, the beer league, the over 30 league, and you know a few folks that are either active or semi-active in those leagues, and my son used to play, up until he was 15 or so, 15 and 16, but now he's a ripe old 22. And would perhaps like to skate again.
Dude, if I'm going to be teaching Emerson, I'll give Jack a call.
You know what? I think he might really enjoy that.
Yeah, dude. Like I said,
but back to you. I think it's a great feather in your cap, especially for your wife's good friend, very good friend, who stood up in your wedding for her to give you the nod to teach your son how to.
Oh yeah, man. I when Danielle said that, and I was like, wait, did Taylor actually say that, or is that just something that you guys are joking about? And she's like, no, she wants him to learn, and the only apparently like skating clinics will only take anyone 6 and up.
Okay, so for the next 3 years, it's just you and him, 1-on-1.
Well, I mean, dude, even
teach him the finer points of the NHL.
And here was the issue when I heard they would only take kids 6 and up. I'm like, I get it, but the earlier you learn, like that's how you make it to the big show. Like if you go back and look at kids that are in the NHL now, the Dylan Larkins, the Alex DeBrincats. They started
earlier than 6?
Bro, they started when they were toddlers. They already had people in the family and friends that would, even if they couldn't get like actual ice time, they had ponds, they had different areas that they would go to and skate actually outdoors.
Well, that's one thing you don't have.
No, unfortunately.
And even if you did, how much PVC piping do you have around the house?
Oh, dude, I would buy all the PVC. I'd make the shit out of a hockey rink with some PVC. But yeah, I'm like 6. That just seems a little late in the game to really get someone to the level. I mean, you know as well as I do, watching NHL games now, the level that these guys are at is something truly fucking insane. It's not even from 10 years ago.
Right.
It's a whole different story now. Watching how fast-paced games are now, the hand-eye coordination that a lot of players have, and the split-second decisions and plays that are able to be made, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So to start at 6, just not even the idea of hockey, just to learn how to skate, they're going to start someone at 6. That, like I said, I think by that point it's already too late in the game. You're not gonna make it to the big time.
I mean, how could you quantify that though? I mean, 3 is very young. It's super young.
Dude, I'm telling you though, that's when all these some of the greatest players that you've seen, or I shouldn't say seen, but that you're seeing now, that's when they're starting.
But I feel like from the ages of 3 to 6, what you're really doing is just making sure that they understand how awesome hockey is and how much it means to the family.
No.
And get them really like sort of brainwashed into like hockey is the best sport there is, and we follow it religiously in this family. And
I mean that might be the case for some families out there. I'm not saying it's not.
Sure.
But what I feel and what I think would truly be the most helpful is from that age of 3 to 6, all you're focusing on is skating. It's not the idea of trying to put in their head like, oh, hockey. It's skating. Just that's all we're doing. That's all we're focusing on. That's all we're talking about is skating. Don't even think about a hockey stick, a puck. Get the fundamentals of skating down, and that's going to take you very far.
Yeah.
Because I was over the age of 6 when I learned how to skate.
Right. And you're saying the fact that you're not in the NHL is proof positive that they need to start at 3?
Thank you. That's exactly what I was saying.
There's no flies on me, Cory.
I can tell. Sharp one over there you are.
Yep.
But it wasn't also just learning how to skate. It was skating and like I'm learning to skate to play hockey. I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
Mean, I guess I would have to really understand the difference between someone who's starting to learn how to skate at 6 and someone who's already been skating from age 3 to 6. And how much of a difference there is, because I really don't know.
Oh, it's going to be... So Ann Harris, that's joined the live, she said give him...
Ann Harris.
She said give him a small wooden chair to push on the ice. Yeah, and they make little PVC, like...
Sure. Something
walkers.
To keep them up on the skates.
Yeah.
when they can't quite do it on their own, they need like a walker, or basically like the hockey version of a set of crutches.
Training wheels.
Training wheels. There you go.
That's been done for. I've seen, even when I was playing, they were doing that. They'd have open skates before our games, and then there was small children out there that were pushing around those PVC walkers.
Yeah.
And I'm again, I obviously don't play in the NHL. I've never come close to it, but I personally feel that if you are to learn or start to learn at that young of an age, just the fundamentals of skating, not any idea of hockey or anything like that, just how to do footwork, how to stop, how to make turns. If you got that down, and if you practice that for 3 years, by the age of 6, you're going to be a pretty phenomenal skater. And then from 6 on, that's when we learn the fundamentals of hockey.
Right.
And bring the actual game into it. But as long as you... Dude, now I'm just getting upset because now I wish I wish my parents would started me when I was that young. And obviously they would never have had any idea that I was interested in hockey. It was something that came along way later in life for me that I brought up to them, and I was like, I think I like this. So yeah, they obviously would have never known. But yeah, if you're already in a hockey family or even a skating family, yeah, man, I think 3 is the time to get out there on that PVC walker and start moving some ice around.
Right. Well, listen, the Wings have been in Sweden. Are you not on camera?
I am.
Okay. Lori has texted me asking why I'm the only one on camera.
Because she's on Instagram.
Oh, right. Okay.
Instagram doesn't allow us to do the whole different
fair.
camera setups and all that. So Instagram's just a little teaser to try to get people over to Facebook Live or YouTube Live.
Right.
So
yeah. So listen, Lori, you can watch me on Instagram. I'm sorry that I'm too much for you, that you'd really like to see someone else other than me on the show.
Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, it's a big feather in Cory's cap, but it is what it is. And you're just going to have to stare at my fugly mug for the next 45 minutes.
We're live on Facebook, which she was watching the prior episode.
Yeah, but she's now maybe walking around her house, and she's like, oh, when I'm walking around the house, I only look at Instagram. I can't be bothered to Facebook. That's when I sit down in my easy chair and I put the blanket on and my slippers on.
Fair enough.
So, Red Wings have been in Sweden for the last week or so, and they played a couple of games, which is obviously why we're talking about sports, because Nick's not here. And that gives us the license to talk about sports for the next 45 minutes. Not that we're going to, but we're going to talk about it for a little bit. So,
and we'll see where it goes.
They've gone 0-2 in Sweden.
They did get a point, though.
They did.
They got a point off the Ottawa game, so that's.
But they were still some significant, frustrating losses that they took.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that 0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
In the overtime against Ottawa was fucking crazy. As a matter of fact, it was so crazy. The Red Wings app actually sent out a notification saying 4-4, end of overtime. And I was like, oh, sweet. As I was watching I had the game on my iPad, so I knew it was lagging. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I clearly know that, we're going to go into another round.
Yeah.
And then that happened, and they immediately retracted that notification.
As you do.
And they're like, oh, just kidding. Actually, Ottawa won. So that 0.2 seconds left. That's a tough loss to take.
There have been a lot of grousing on the internet about our goalie somehow making a move that made him appear to duck and allow the game-winning goal to go in.
Reimer? Or was that was Reimer on that game, right?
I think so.
I don't think it was Husso.
Or was it Lyon?
I know they did take 3 goalies with them. I want to say it was Reimer, though.
Yeah, it was. Red Wings James Reimer inexplicably ducks to allow game-winning goal.
Oh, man. Even conspiracy theories are making it to hockey now? Jesus Christ.
They are. But, I mean, conspiracy theories are going to abound no matter where you are.
Yeah, I know.
Detroit and Ottawa met on Thursday this week in the first of 4 games the NHL is hosting this weekend in Stockholm, Sweden. After falling behind 4-0 early in the second period, the Red Wings stormed back to force overtime and were within seconds of sending the game to a shootout when Ottawa's Tim Stützle stored a
Wow. Does that? I was gonna say.
Where's the jar? Hold on.
Well, you still had $3 left, didn't you?
Let me check. Let me check the
official record.
Mispronunciation-o-meter. What is the official record? Mispronunciation jar. I did. I have a $3 credit.
So now you're down to 2.
I'm down to 2.
All
right. When Ottawa's Tim Stützle scored a stunning game winner. That's how that was supposed to have been said. In the closing seconds of the overtime period, Drake Batherson flipped a pass in front of the net towards Stützle, who patiently waited and whacked the puck on net with a baseball swing. Reimer might have had a chance of making a game-saving stop if he hadn't ducked out of the way of the puck as it flew toward him. Now, I saw this play, and I watched it on replay, and I thought the same thing. Like, why would you duck when if you hadn't moved, it would have hit you in the fucking noggin and bounced clear away from the net? I don't get it. But I don't play hockey, so I'm like, yeah, maybe that's a hockey. Maybe it's a goalie move. Instinctively do the splits and duck down as though you're in a Bond movie and there's a spinning, spiked wheel that's coming right over your junk.
Well, then say the only thing I can really think of off the top of my head is that that was the Ottawa game, correct?
That was.
Okay, yeah. So that the play he thought the stick might have been coming towards his head, and he was trying to brace for the impact of getting smoked in the mask with a stick.
Maybe. I mean, I've seen this replay. It doesn't look like that to me, but I get why you would say that. I don't think any of us can say. But, and I know this podcast is going to be huge in Sweden this week. Huge.
I would only hope so.
And maybe also Ottawa, but the loss dropped the Red Wings to 8-5-3 in the season, third in the Atlantic Division, while Ottawa is now 7-7. So well done, Senators.
Yeah.
God damn it. Isn't Kachuk on the Senators?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I am not a Kachuk fan. I think he's a cheap shot artist. And am I the only one?
No. The families had a history in the NHL.
Yeah, but you don't want to impugn the entire family for the actions of the eldest son in the NHL.
No, but
I can tell you by watching the fucking Senators, that dude's a cheap shot artist.
Him and I think Larkin got into it pretty good.
They did. Yeah. And it's not the first time. Like I've watched I don't know whether I was just lucky or cursed to watch all the last few Senators Red Wings games, and I'm really at a loss to understand how this dude. Now he's not breaking the rules. I'm not going to say that he is going out of his way to target players. That would be crazy if I said that. However, I will say that the dude seems to delight in cheap shotting our players. I don't follow the Senators, so I can't really say, Cory, whether or not he's a fan of cheap shotting any player that the Senators are playing against, or whether he just has it out for the Wings. I don't know. But, dude, come on. There's no reason for that kind of shit. And why he's found smack dab in the middle of all the shenanigans in the ice between the Wings and the Senators is not it's not coincidence. And that's just how I feel about it. But anyway, so now I'm literally doing a podcast by myself. Cory's on the way. He's zipping up, shaking off, vigorously shaking it off, and zipping up and then coming out to rejoin me. But in the meantime, we're going to just potentially temporarily pivot over to a question.
This Existential question of the week.
I'm going to tell you, Corey, nothing makes me happier than rolling out
Doing
Nick's
something else
such a question
when he's
when
not
Nick's
here.
not here. And so this is Bob and not Nick reading Nick's question, which of a stack of questions that I provided.
That is true.
So technically, this is Bob's existential question of the week.
Yeah, we should go change that audio real quick.
Yeah, we should. Okay, so the question for you and I to answer is, and this will be the first potentially of a few. If you had to move to another country, but could pick any you'd like, which would you choose and why?
Oh, okay. So this actually kind of is a good, it fits between what we were just talking about and that question.
Yes, sir.
Danielle's aunt actually flew to Sweden to go to those games.
This week?
Yeah, she was there for both of them.
Specifically to watch the Wings play.
Yeah, she bought the package through the Red Wings.
What did that cost?
$5,000 a person.
She flew by herself.
There was two of them, I believe.
So for $10,000, they're like, let's fucking go to Sweden.
They had an 8-hour flight to Sweden.
They are that big of a Red Wings fan.
Her Aunt Vicky, our Aunt Vicky, I should say,
sure.
She as a matter of fact, she works at LCA as a volunteer on a lot of games, and she knows one of Larkin's family members. She's gotten a shit ton of autographs from him on a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, for $5,000, apparently you got the flight, your hotel, and then there's
all the Flurgen Shnurgen you can eat.
I would hope there was a lot of Flurgen Shnurgen.
Okay.
For that amount, but they got a really nice jersey. And there was something else that Danielle told me that came in that package, which I still would hope there'd be a little bit more than just that, but I guess if you love the Wings that much, and you're that big of a fan, then it'd be worth it. Yeah, so she was in Sweden for several days watching the Wings games. She made it on the big screen.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Just for the record, I've dropped my mispronunciation jar credits to $2.
I'm glad it's official.
Official in the OneNote. Okay, so for you. Oh no, yeah, absolutely sure. Oh fuck, she's on the jumbotron.
Yeah, dude, that was her.
Let's see.
That was her aunt in Sweden.
So that's a fuck ton of money to pay just to go to see a Red Wings game. I don't care where you are.
You don't say. Hang on, I'm trying to bring up. I guess.
Hang on.
All right, so that is her aunt right there.
The
front and center.
The big face, right front and center?
Yep.
Okay. Who did she take with her?
I'd have
her husband?
No, it wasn't her husband. I would think it was one of her daughters.
Okay.
I can't.
But her daughter's not on the jumbotron?
No, she is not there.
I'll get in a hot dog, I'm assuming. A Swedish fish.
I was going to say Swedish meatballs?
I was going to say fish, but that's fine.
Swedish fish. Yes, that's... When you go to a hockey game in Sweden, you just get
a Swedish. Yeah.
They give you a handful of Swedish fish on a bun.
Flurgen Shnurgen. Yes. I think I was clear about this.
That's a handful of candies on a bun. That's all you get.
Well, you can call them that if you want, but I prefer to use the native term as
Swedish fish.
Flurgen Shnurgen.
Oh, Flurgen, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, to go on to continue on the question. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Did you have more about that?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh, man.
I'll say it again. If you had to move to another country but could pick any you'd like, which would you choose and why?
Any other country? I'd probably say Bali.
Is it Bali or Bali? I don't know. I've never been there.
I've never been either. Let's say Bali. That's fine.
All right. Let's assume that before you go there, you'll learn how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I guess that'd probably be a good idea.
Okay. Just because of the pictures, because all the pictures that I've seen it looks incredible.
Yeah. Do you just like the on the water,
Yeah.
huts that they have like literally out in the water? That would be where I'd want to go.
The problem is whenever you see pictures of places like those where it's just unbelievably beautiful by the water, I feel like it's almost always true that there's abject poverty just on the other side of the road. That runs along the water.
I'm sure.
Yeah, which is
Unfortunate.
Okay, so Bali living in a hut.
Bali.
Again, I haven't been there, but if I did, I'd learn how to pronounce it. I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again.
Hey, can I guess?
Sure.
France.
That's it.
There you go.
Yep. Just because I had been there a couple times and fell in love with it. And that makes it, dude, we can probably get through like 10 of these.
Probably.
With no problem. Okay. Which overused word are you tired of hearing?
Literally. I'm literally tired of hearing literally.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I hear that all the time. But obviously I can't use the word you used, so I will say the overused word that I've heard. I worked for a guy who was my manager who used the word literally at least 7 times per sentence. To the point where I thought there was something wrong with him.
I'd off myself.
And it was never used
literally
properly. Right. Okay, the overused word that I would hear.
Maybe we won't get through 10 of them.
All right, no, I'm really dropping the ball here because you would think that I've heard a ton of overused words. I gotta go with Todd's at the end of the day.
That was actually another one I was thinking of.
Because I'm not we record this show on the weekends, but when Todd says at the end of the day, it's not the only time during the week that I've heard that. It's probably the 14th or 15th time I've heard at the end of the day. And I don't understand why people can't come up with another different or unique or properly used way to say that this is where the buck stops.
So, okay, that's an interesting point because to even think about like how literally is used now,
mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's never used in the actual way it should be used. So do you think that excuse me, our not our generation, but our society has changed the actual meaning of that word now?
I think we've gotten lazier, and I think that when you say something like, at the end of the day, ... and then you make your point, or you say, when all is said and done, ... and then you make your point. When you say, look, long story short, ... what you're really saying is, I'm going to tell you what I think about it, and I don't want anybody else to say anything else about. I want my thing to be the last thing that's said about it. Then we're going to move on. That's really what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think that people have caught on to the fact that this is a thing you can do, but they're not very creative in how they introduce doing that thing. So they latch onto something like at the end of the day, and that's just what they use every time they want to do that. And we're a society that wants to debate everything back and forth now. And so they find themselves using that more frequently than we ever did before. And so they find themselves saying at the end of the day over and over and over and over again during the week.
Yeah, I know we hear it a lot on the podcast with Todd, and that's fine.
No offense against Todd.
No, of
There's
course
probably
not.
Shit that I say, that you say, that Nick says, that are our go-to phrases that we repeat a lot, and we
Oh,
don't
yeah,
even realize that we're doing it because it's muscle memory.
But the point being, if I were to hear that 14 times throughout the week, and then on Saturdays, Tom's like, well, at the end of the day, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, I've heard this enough this week.
Because really, when you hear it, you hear him say at the end of the day, the fact that he says it a lot, and the fact that he's not the only person I've heard say it, really means that when I hear that, it's like a blind spot. It's like I stopped listening. And what is to follow then, I don't even pay attention to anymore. And it's unfair because he may be about to drop some science on us on the big green egg or some other thing that he wants to talk about. And he's completely shot himself in the foot by saying at the end of the day before he talked about that idea.
By the way, I'm not going to count those last two trips that you had with the words.
That's good because it's just you and me here now, buddy.
You'd be down to zero.
How about I Venmo you $5?
Okay, now we could be down another one.
That'll cover that trip and the other trips, and we'll be good.
This episode's between you and I.
Yeah. No, we are live at the internet. But
Well,
hopefully you're still going to pull
true.
it down after we're done.
That is, yes.
All right, we're going to keep going here. All right. I feel like this question might be more apropos for you in a couple of years maybe, but what's the worst thing you've stepped on in the dark?
Oh, dude, definitely a fucking dog toy.
What kind of a dog toy? You mean like a bone?
Okay. Remy and Rue have a plethora of fucking toys that they like.
Yeah.
But there's a certain one. We refer to him as Mr. Pufferfish. Okay. It's kind of like this. It's maybe a softball size pink ball, but the outside form of this ball has like pufferfish features on it. So he's got little pufferfish face, and it had a tail at one point.
Okay.
And for some reason, our dogs just love this fucking thing. And so Remy will take it everywhere with him in the house. And when he drops it, Rue wants to pick it up to take it from him. But they leave it in all different places. And there's been several mornings where I've woken up, or even at night, where I've gone to go into the bedroom, and in our hallway to the bedroom, it's dark, but I know where I'm going, so I'm not going to turn on a light just to open the bedroom door, just to come back out, turn the light off, and go in the bedroom.
Right.
But this thing has been sitting in the hallway a couple times, and I've stepped on it, and it's rolled out from underneath my foot.
Yeah.
And between thinking I tore a hamstring, nearly broke my femur, and threw my back out, till, thankfully I've never actually fallen on it, knock on wood, because I know that's coming now after we're talking about this.
You might be jinxing yourself, but
that or they also have like another, like, they're like little fake pieces of wood, maybe about like 4 inches long,
right?
That have like little ends on them, and so when they're laying on the ground just right, your foot fits perfectly on top of it, and it rolls just like a foot massager would across the ground. So if you step on one of those, you're also going to potentially kill yourself. So,
okay,
I'd say to date, the dog toys are the number one worst thing I've ever stepped on.
Okay.
What about you?
I will, having had kids, you'd think I would say Lego, but
that's an easy go-to.
It's an easy go-to, and I've definitely stepped on them.
Oh yeah, as have I.
But nothing has been worse than a dog bone. I've given Indy
I just spilled on myself.
A knuckle bone or a rib or something like that, and he'll sit there and he'll gnaw on it for days. And he'll get all of the meat off that bone. But he's not quite done with it yet because he still has that part of him, despite his age and his girth. He still wants to chew on it like he's a puppy.
Well, yeah, dude. Come on. Every dog loves that. That's
yeah, but he's not teething. He just it's just a thing to do.
There's still some of that taste left on that bone. He's going to finish it.
It's very few. Like that bone is polished white, like a newborn's tooth.
Again, I do not doubt that whatsoever. But they fucking love him.
He stripped all the meat off that bone. I was trying to figure out a way that you were going to turn that into a sexual innuendo, but I felt like I was okay with that. I was in a good spot. But yeah,
if you would have said he sucked all the meat off the bone, then that would have been something.
What did I say? Stripped?
Stripped, yeah.
I think I was safe with that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's at least one or two that are always kind of floating around my house, generally between the living room and the hallway. Like, he never takes them outside. He doesn't take them upstairs. So on the main floor, they're somewhere there. And if you're bumbling through the house and the lights are off, you're going to step on one of those bones. And it is it's never a symmetrical bone. So it's like resting on its side, but the angle to the sharpest part that's facing upright is going to tip in the other way, and it's going to dig into your foot, and you're going to trip.
Like a Vietnamese bamboo trap?
I think you've crystallized my thoughts eloquently there, sir. So not only you're going to step on it and go, oh, fuck, but you're going to trip, and you're going to start to tumble over and have to catch yourself on the edge of the wall, or you're going to pull down a lamp, or you're going to fall out the front door, whatever it is. It's a shit show.
So the lamp was very specific. I feel like that might have happened.
No, but I'm trying to think about you. Trying to mentally go through what's in your living room.
Fair enough.
What am I going to grab that's really going to? It's going to cause some damage when I bring that down. Lamp's the first thing.
You know, and that is very true. Because as a matter of fact, it's like our hallway, when you walk from the bedroom and the bathroom out into the living room, the first thing and the closest thing on the left is our little entertainment unit and the TV on the wall right above it. Mm-hmm. And I've thought a couple times myself, I'm like, if I were to go down, I'd be putting my arm out towards that TV and just ripping the TV right off the wall.
You're going to grab for something.
Yeah. That or the coffee table on the right. And if it's the coffee table, that's too low. I'm not grabbing for it. I'm literally just going through that.
Is it glass? Is yours a glass top?
No, it's all wood.
Oh, so you're probably not gonna break it. I guess it depends on how far and how hard you're falling, but
it'd be a hard fall. If I'm not going through it, I'm at least breaking the top of it. But I guess I'd rather do that than rip the TV off the wall. So that's hopeful thinking, I guess.
Yeah, you don't want to do the one thing that's going to cause you to have like 5 or 6 days worth of work to fix.
No, and a couple $1,000s, or maybe not a couple thousand for a new TV nowadays, but yeah, to replace drywall and have to buy a new TV. As a matter of fact, if that happened, I would open up the door and be like, "All right, dogs, see you guys. You're gone."
I should have grabbed Nick's Existential book earlier so we can kind of go through like, oh, I feel like we've asked each other this question before, or no, we haven't. Let's do it. Because I'm kind of going through like all of these questions now.
So speaking of Nick's Existential book.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's really nothing written in there and he just comes off?
Well, let's find out.
Comes off with a question off the top of his head. Oh, he doesn't have it secured. It's just sitting over there willy-nilly.
Yeah. Yep. Willy-nilly, ladies and gentlemen. And the title of this book is If ...
Oh wait, so this is an actual published book?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is not a book that
I thought it was like a journal that he had different questions.
You're giving him far too much credit.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
The actual title of the book is If ... Questions for the Game of Life by Evelyn McFarlane and James Saywell. Copyright 1995.
He doesn't mark any of them off though, does he?
Well, I don't know. This is the part where only he knows what. And he's been skipping over questions. Like there's a lot of
course,
pages here.
yeah.
There's like 100 and let's say 30 pages of questions. I have no idea what he's not made any kind of a mark next to any of the questions that we've asked. So legitimately, if he just decided one day, he's like, you know what? I don't feel like doing this podcast anymore. You guys can just go on without me. But you could have my book.
We'd have to figure out what questions.
Yes. So maybe we should do that right now. Okay. I'm going to read these off, and you're going to tell me whether or not we've answered these before.
Okay.
All right. So get your memory sharp. Sharpen your memory. Perfect.
There we go.
If you were granted one wish, what would it be?
Oh, I don't think we've done that one. And
There's a bunch of these that he skipped over. I know that because I can see two of them on this page alone.
And in true Nick fashion, that's way too easy and quick of an answer.
Yeah.
For one wish.
Yeah. Why? Because you're going to say more wishes.
No, because of course he would. The rules would be you can't wish for more wishes. But
this is the thing that we always hold him to account on. Like, hey,
hang on, maybe we have used that one.
I don't know. You could tell me. Keep going.
Keep going.
All right. If you could spend one whole night alone with anyone in the world who is currently alive, who would you select?
No, we have not done that one.
All right. Now we're talking.
Margot Robbie. I think my mind might have been a little outside of the context of that question, but
ladies and gentlemen, if you ever wanted to ask yourself whether or not Cory's wife listens to the show, you just got the answer.
Hopefully does not.
I'm going to say Lori Clark.
Wow.
I just happened to think about it for 0.5 seconds longer than you did.
Well, yeah, once I gave my answer, you're like, yeah, not doing that.
That's okay. Danny doesn't listen to the show anyway. If you could spend one whole night alone with anyone in history, who would you choose? Time for you to make up for that earlier gaffe, my friend.
Anyone in history.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to say Shakespeare.
Okay. Why?
Well, it doesn't say that I have to say why. But
I'm asking you.
I would say I'm an English guy. I'm definitely not a math guy. So he's my bread and butter. He's the Mount Everest. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that is very true.
Yeah.
I'm going to say my dad.
Oh, fuck you. Good answer. The best answer. If you could physically transport yourself to any place in the world at this moment, where would you go?
Tawas.
That was fucking quick.
I mean, I might as well say it. Nick's not here to say it for me, so.
Yep.
Ta's not here to say it either.
I'm going to say Mount Everest because I just said it 5 seconds ago. If you could have lived through any war in history, did he fucking skip the first 100 pages? We haven't answered this question before. No. If you could have lived through any war in history without actually fighting in it, which would it be? So without actually fighting in it, lived through it, meaning like you were a spectator?
I would assume so.
Okay.
Ooh,
this is a very loaded question. It's very vague, in my opinion.
It is, but I
mean, we've all lived through wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that were happening hundreds of thousands of miles away from us with no impact to our lives.
Right.
Almost literally no impact other than
gas prices
going up or, news reports of, people that are serving that have died in the conflict. Yeah. So it's a tough question.
I would have to say the Civil War.
Okay.
And my reasoning for that being, I understand it was still war, and that was for its time, that was all they knew, and that was what we know of war today to them. But people even back then were already spectating that. And I just feel the way of how simple it was back then, when you just basically have two sides lining up to basically just have a duel.
Yeah.
And there was rules and regulations to war. Like I understand we still have rules and a lot of rules and regulations to war today, but it wasn't as dirty and deceptive and there wasn't all this stuff going on behind the scenes. It was literally what you saw in front of you was the conflict and it was the war.
Right.
And it was two sides showing up to battle that out. And there was a winner and there was a loser. And that was it. So I think to have, and I know you can go to Civil War reenactments and all that. Yes, I get that. But I think to see an actual war in real time and to spectate it, I think the Civil War would have been very interesting to actually see in person and to spectate it. Like I would think a lot of people there too. Like you feel like you're on the revolutionary cusp of technology and how things were going. You know, guys shooting muskets, like this is unbelievable. They can shoot 100 yards.
Right.
I mean, and now, you know, we have drones that someone sitting in Virginia can drop a bomb on someone in Afghanistan. Like it's a whole different story. Back then it was all face to face and very up close and personal. And you already had spectators coming to see those battles. So that's my answer.
I'm going to go way back here. I was literally just trying to Google this because I'm like, oh, I want to go back to like ancient Rome.
Okay. All right.
And how that was good. But I couldn't name you a particular war. And it seems like back then, like every year there was a war. And just a quick Google search, like the Battle of Mount Gorus, the Battle of Saticula, the Battle of Vesuvius, the Battle of Tryphanium. There was a war every year. The Romans made war quite a bit. So I'm not sure the Fourth Macedonian War, like in 150 BC. That may be a good example. I couldn't tell you, but I feel like in that era, I would just want to see what is it like before people had, it was all hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, I mean, going back to my answer, yeah, there was obviously no muskets or anything like that. It was swords and bows and arrows. That's all you had.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, if you were wondering whether or not this is going to be worth it for just the two of us to be talking, I think you got your answer. 100%.
I think we're doing good so far.
I think we're
buddy.
doing great so far. And we got a couple more questions to go.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Miss Lori Clark, find out if Caesar's fight with Pompey is really what destroyed the library at Alexandria.
That's a...
I don't think that's in Nick's book.
You know what? I'm gonna answer that question with another question, and hopefully this will help. Our next question is: if you could eliminate, no, we've already done that one. I'm pretty sure. Well, you tell me. If you could eliminate any one type of insect permanently from the earth, what would you get rid of?
I think we have discussed that one. Yeah.
If you had eliminated a single type of animal forevermore, which would you choose?
Single animal?
Yeah.
Oh. Canadian geese. Fuck them.
Fuck the geese.
Yeah. Dude, I was driving to work the other day, and there was a gaggle of them crossing the road, and I had to sit there and fucking wait.
Yeah.
I was late to work because
Yeah.
fucking geese were crossing the road.
Right.
And they don't do it like two at a time. It's a gaggle of them. And they just
It is a gaggle of them.
slowly take their time, even though there's a car coming at them that could easily kill them. I feel like they know they're a protected species around here.
Yeah.
They're very pompous. And you can get as close to them as you want. You can honk your horn, and they just, okay, you can continue on the street. Fucking Canadian geese. Yeah. Fuck them. I'd get rid of them.
I can't top that.
Okay.
If you could have an elegant dinner alone with anyone presently alive, whether you knew them or not, why would you say whether you knew them or not? If you didn't know them, but you wanted to have a... Okay.
I didn't write the book.
If you could have an elegant dinner alone with anyone presently alive, whether you knew them or not, who would you want it to be?
Margot Robbie. No, I'm just kidding.
Shakespeare. Moving on. If you could alter, we might have we done this before? Maybe there's a reason why we haven't. If you could alter one physical characteristic of your mate, what would you change?
Yeah, no, we haven't done that one. We're moving on.
If you could dine alone with anyone from any period in history, which person would it be? Well, how is that different?
Yeah, that's so close to the other one.
Oh, the other one, they'd have to be presently alive. So this one is any period in history. Shakespeare. Let me guess. Margot Robbie.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
He is also alive, though. You could have picked him for the last one.
I know, but Margot Robbie kind of looks better than Jeff Bridges. So.
All right. If you could, in retrospect, see how we're rocketing through these? We could have gone through this. If this podcast was just you and me. Yeah. 252 episodes. We haven't even. There's questions on page 6 we had never even done. All right. If you could, in retrospect, change one thing about your childhood, what would it be? Ooh. We may have done.
Well, I don't think we have.
Why would we have? This is a deep question.
Ask our buddy Nick. He's the one that comes up with questions.
Okay. Yeah.
So, Danielle and I just covered this the other night.
Did you?
And it was
that must have been a great dinner out at Taco Bell.
No, we were at Boatworks.
Okay.
So I discovered that apparently there was such a thing as half-day kindergarten.
All kindergarten's half days. There's no kindergarten that's a full day of school.
Yeah, there was at Sacred Heart.
Oh, because you were Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there were no abortions. So you had to go the whole day.
I don't know what abortion
is. I just connected those two things because that's all I know about Catholics.
I don't know. Yes, they fit together.
I mean, I think you'll agree that those are
that goes together
like peanut butter and jelly,
like tuna fish and peanut butter. Yes,
sure.
Yeah, no. So I discovered that apparently,
just for the audience, we are a comedy podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is not. Sorry to talk about abortions.
We can't be held responsible for anything we say in this podcast.
Yeah, I discovered that there was such thing as half-day kindergarten, and I'm like, what the fuck? And so I texted my mom, and I was like, hey, and I can't remember exactly what I said, but she's like,
hey, babe.
Yeah. She's like, I'm pretty sure we sent you to half-day. I'm like, no, you didn't. I'm like, I'm now thinking back on it.
You remember them as being a whole day.
I remember kids leaving at like noon and getting to go home, and we were like,
you had to stay?
You're like, okay, well, they just get to go home for some reason. And she's like, I'm pretty sure we sent you half day. I'm like, no, I remember kids leaving. She's like, all right, honey, have a good night. I was like, oh, hang on. I'm like, you weren't even working at the time.
Right.
But yeah, so that would be my answer to that.
Okay, what would I do? Oh my gosh. I'll tell you what it would be. It would be the kind of school lunch I got. My school lunch was horrific. I've told stories about it.
We've talked.
That's what I would change. Moving on. Last one for the episode, and then we'll close it out. If you could have, this is actually a really, really good question, Corey. I would bet money we've never done this question before.
Okay.
And I don't know why, because it's on page 7.
Nick starts at page 14. Any book.
If you could have any room in the world become your bedroom from now on, which room would you choose? There's no way we've done this question before.
No.
What a great question that is.
It is a great question. That's we got to have a discussion with him.
No, I don't think we do. We know where the book's at.
We can do it.
Yeah. It's all good.
So, years and years ago,
okay,
I went to San Francisco with somebody, and we were walking up and down the beach, the boardwalk. And for those not familiar with San Francisco,
it's in California.
Yes, it is in California. On the boardwalk, there's these houses that are right up against the beach lines. There's the house, your quote unquote like backyard, a wall of some sort, a little boardwalk, and then the beach. And that's how close you are to it. So already amazing property.
Okay.
There was this one house we passed by, and when you looked at it, it looked like the entire back wall was open. Like if you were to just remove the back wall of the house.
Okay.
And so we stopped there and we were just looking at it. We're like, how is this possible? And there was a group of people sitting on in the backyard on their deck area and all that. And they saw us sitting there looking at the house. They're like, oh, hey guys, like you want to come check it out? And we're like, well, yeah. So they explained to us it was their boss. They worked for some company and he was obviously a millionaire. And he lets a group of employees go for a week every year.
Okay.
And so obviously that's why they were more than willing to show us the house, because it wasn't theirs. So the entire back wall was open. And literally they showed us how you could just press a button and this huge glass wall would close and cover both floors.
Okay.
But within the house, there was not a single actual wall anywhere.
What?
All the walls were glass. The bedroom, the bathroom. So when you were looking at the house, you could see through the entire thing. And I know that sounds like, oh, well, why would you want to do that? Because if you go to the bathroom, every room had a button on the floor when you walked in the door. And if you stepped on that button, the glass would go completely opaque.
That's badass.
And you could no longer see in that room.
Right.
And the second they did that, I was like, oh, what? Holy shit.
Yeah.
And now again, too, I know you're probably thinking like, well, how do you hang stuff on the walls? Or obviously you wouldn't be able to have a TV or outlets. No, there were flat screens hanging on all the glass walls. How the actual mounting process went, I don't know. I'm sure it was very expensive, but everything was ran through fiber optic cables through the glass, so you couldn't see it. So you'd have your bedroom with all glass walls, but there would be a 62-inch TV hanging in front of you on the glass.
What?
Yeah. And still the same thing with that wall. The second you hit that button, the wall will go opaque and you can no longer see through it. So to fully answer the question, if I could have a room, it would be a glass walled room that I could have those buttons and that TV hanging on the wall.
Okay.
That would be my dream room.
Okay. I feel like you got the question.
I think I did.
All right. Just before
what's your answer?
my answer is, I had to look it up because there's, lots of lists of like, oh, what's the best libraries in the world? We've already covered in this episode. I'm a English guy. I'm a reading guy. And I've seen pictures of libraries where I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. But for that to be my room, I had to do a search and get to slide 26 of 30 to find the one that I was thinking of.
Okay.
But it is the Trinity College Library in Dublin, Ireland. If that could be my room, that would be like heaven.
So why specifically that library?
Because that library, it's a if you do while I'm sort of jibber jabbering away, if you do a Google search, let's say if you're listening to or watching the show for the Trinity College Library in Dublin, you'll probably get a picture that looks similar to the one that I'm looking at, and the one that was in my head from when I had seen it before that really made it stick there. It's a wooden chamber. It's got a barrel ceiling. There's tons of old texts there, and it is a very warm, multi-layered library. The kind of thing that as a kid, that's how I felt when I walked into any library. I'm like, oh my God, all of these books that I can read, and this is as though it took all the libraries that I'd ever been to in my life and turned them into a work of art.
So is that the correct picture?
That is the correct picture.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I think of when I think of, the most beautiful library in the world. So if there was one room, I think that would probably count. And if that could be my room from now on, that's what I would, that would be heaven to me.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there you go. Cory and Bob ending our episode on a little bit of a soul-bearing note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good episode, man.
Could it be the greatest episode we've ever done?
I think it could be.
I think it should be. I think from now on we should refer to it as such.
There's your episode title.
There we go.
The greatest episode ever.
The greatest episode ever. Perfect. On behalf of Cory and myself, and also our AWOL brothers, Todd Dillon and Nick Bader. On behalf of Schnozzcast, we'll see you next week. Take care of yourselves. Peace out.